Yeah.
Okay, so I just added USA to my name. So add your countries into your names. And then that's good. We'll have people do that from now on so we can see, the diversity of the people. Do you see where to rename it? Okay, yes. Isaac, let's see. Nigeria. Okay, cool. And there's a bunch of other people that we invite in the future too. Let me see something here.
I'm also from USA, United States of America.
Okay, say that again.
I'm also from USA.
Put your original country of origin, not right where you're residing right now.
Sure. Sure.
And let's see, and also put a little extra space be after your name and where you start your, like Isaac did. Victor, you see where to do it?
Yeah, I'm doing it, but I don't. Can you see it on your side?
No.
Hmm.
You go to rename, you went to rename, right?
Yeah, display name.
Yeah, or rename, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. Which country?
Kenya, Kenya.
Okay. So let's see. Hold on one sec. Let me see. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is um, setting up a custom email program. And let's see if I can go ahead and get into where we need to get into.
Like a server, like an email server, in a sense.
Now, we're not setting up the server now. We're utilizing a program. Okay, so the thing is, the software that we're going to use, you guys can't see my screen, right? Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to outline the steps, okay, of what we're going to do in order to utilize this software. So you want to go ahead and use your line item outline. You don't number it, okay, but you're going to go step by step by step, okay? So, and if you can't figure out what the categories are now, right, you can always leave a line break in what you're doing and then go back and rewrite the subcategory for what you're doing. So you want to, you know, what we're doing is we're going to be setting up a custom email template. Okay. So let me see if this will work. No, we don't want captions. We want. And we'll see if this works or not. Okay, so the first thing I did was I logged into the software which has the program that we're going to use. In this case, it's a plugin that's on our One Planet-One People website. So I'm going into the administrative dashboard, okay, for this program. The program we're going to use is called Fluent CRM, right? Customer Relationship Management. So I click on that. Right? And it opens up some statistics on some mailings that have already been done. And then Zoom gets in kind of the way of what I want to see. Okay. And we have two kinds of dashboards. We've got a menu up here, and we've got a dashboard here. And let's say the first thing that we want to do is, you know, ordinarily we'd go ahead and have a spreadsheet, which is really a database, and we would want to make sure that's formatted correctly and uploaded. Okay. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and do that on a different session. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the campaign, which is the email itself. So we can click into campaigns. Okay. And let me go ahead and move some things out of the way. And we can say create a new campaign. And what do you notice about the titles? Anything you notice? What?
All caps.
All capitals, and they're descriptive. Okay. So that's what you do for your file names. That's what you do for your tab names and your spreadsheets. Okay. That's how you label stuff. Okay. So we're going to create a new campaign. Every time I want to do something, Zoom's information is in the way. It's wonderful. Okay. So the campaign title name for this is this is 16 things book. Publicist client featured expert interview email template. Okay, so that's pretty descriptive, wouldn't you say? So
Yes.
16 things, book publicist, right? Client featured expert interview, right? Email template. And if I really want to go, I can say, hey, it's a featured expert interview request email. No mistaking what this is. Okay, create campaign. Okay, now here you can go ahead and write the campaign right into the software. But what we're going to do is we're going to open up a Word doc. And we're going to copy some information that we already have. And we're going to go to the template classic editor and choose that style. There are other styles, simple box, plain centered, right? Victor, you got to mute. Okay, template plain, right? But we're going to go template classic editor. And to be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily matter what program you're using. Once you learn how to do it in one program and then you try to go ahead and do it in another program, it's much easier to do. Your learning curve is much smaller. Okay, Victor, we got some noise behind you, or it's a feedback. If you can go on mute.
It's an airplane. Sorry.
Okay. So, okay. So here's the introduction. Okay. And we see the content of the letter. But anybody know what's missing from here?
Yes, I think closing remark. That's
Yeah, the closing's missing, yes. And the letter format is also missing. Okay. So the thing is that we can start off with something like who we are. Okay. So we can add in media. Okay. So media means, some type of graphics. And we unfortunately have lots of graphics. We've got on this particular website, we have over 1,300 images, okay, available. And these are all, custom to what we're doing. So here's information. Well, okay. Okay, so what I'm looking for specifically is what you would call our logo, like this, We call it a seal, okay? It's one of our seals. I don't know if this is a good one or not in terms of, it doesn't look like it's real high resolution, but what I can do is I can click on it. I can see some information here. Hopefully it doesn't have a box around it. It's only 79 KB. That's really not a lot. So let me see if I can find something else. I'm going to put in the word seal and see if it comes up with anything. It does. Okay, so I click on here, and these are much higher resolution files. Okay, so then I can say insert it into the post, and it's kind of huge. So I can click on it. I can scale it down. Okay. And then I can center it. Okay. And then, right, what I can do is, let's say this is enough of an explanation initially about who we are. Well, I can add in information about who we're reaching out to so they know that this is a custom email. Okay. So we can add in what we call smart codes. And we can say, well, who are we sending this to? So we can say first name, space, last name, and then on my computer, it's Shift Option Return. That gives me a line break to add in another line. And what goes after, right, the contact name? Anybody know? Normally, okay, it's the person's title, like this, right? Because we're going to somebody who's in a company and they've got a title, right? So this is just like you would go ahead and address a letter. And then after that, you can put company name. So that's the order that you need. First name, last name, custom title, company name. That's different than the information might appear in your spreadsheet where you have the company name first, and then you have first name, last name, title. Okay. Then you put in an extra space, and we don't need to date this. Okay. But we want to say, you know, we want to say hi, and then we want to say the person's first name. Okay. So again, it's the person's first name and then comma. So we're addressing it to their formal first and last name, what their title is, what their company is, and then hi, John, comma, hi, Samson, whatever the name is. I'm Julia from One Planet, One People, a global nonprofit organization based in New York and dedicated to improving quality of life for kids, people, and the planet. The world is in crisis. In the United States, the very foundations of a caring and nurturing society that benefits people are being destroyed with every passing day. What if we can give your clients a sustainable platform to voice their opinions about major problems in the world that people face and what needs to be done to solve these problems? So I'm going to do a little bit of editing because when I read out loud, it gives me the opportunity to hear it and see what needs to be corrected. Okay, because actually these couple of sentences I just added in on the fly because I felt we had to give some context, right, to the people that we're addressing. So then we say, we'd love to interview, and right, this is an artist, which is, let's say, one of their clients, and we can say custom field, and we have to see, right, if we have the artist's name in here, and we don't because we haven't loaded in the right database yet, the right spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to leave that right now. We're just going to leave that unfulfilled. Okay, so we'd love to interview Billy Joel for our upcoming book, 16 Things We All Can Do to Act Right and help save the planet. Musicians Special Edition, we'll say, because that's what it is. Musicians Special Edition. Okay. He'll be featured in a prominent 2-page color display, color spread, along with his photo, achievements, background, and social media information. You can also be listed as, right, his, we'll say, public relations contact. Okay. Or I could say his publicist contact. This interview is simply a brief 20 to 25-minute conversation about issues and solutions to causes he's passionate about. No preparation is needed. The book is endorsed by Jack Canfield, best-selling author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series, with over 650 million books sold worldwide. Jack is promoting our initiatives to his million-plus network as part of his commitment to global sustainability and youth empowerment. We'll be producing up to 100,000 copies of the book with a circulation of over 500,000. Additionally, the artist's insights will be featured in our free One Planet One People workshop series, with upwards of 250,000 people participating globally. These workshops provide opportunities for people around the world to take action on the causes featured in the book. As recognition for your clients' participation, we'll establish a $10,000 scholarship in their name, providing 500 youth with books and materials to attend our workshop leadership program. All told, this opportunity will generate significant positive exposure and media opportunities for your client for years to come, while furthering a cause that's important, right, to their heart. Can we arrange a quick 15-minute call next week with our founder to discuss how we can tailor this opportunity to your client's interests? And then, right, we would put in the signature. Okay, so we would say, you know, sincerely or with best regards. And let's see, this is coming from Julia. And let's see, let me just go ahead and go to some other place where we actually have the signature already. So I say compose. And it pops up with a signature. And we've got lots of things in here, but we can copy this. And then we can go back to our template. And we create a couple of spaces in between. And then we put that information in. And let's see, we're using Lucia Sands. Here we're using the same thing. The font might be a little bit big, but we'll have to see. And Julia's last name is spelled, goodness gracious, you think I don't remember. Let's see, let me check one place real quick. There. Right. Okay. And her last name is spelled Zuma Raga. Okay. And I'm dyslexic, so that's why I can't remember how to spell people's names. Okay. And then her title is, let's see. Coordinator. We'll put that for now. Okay. And then my information, right, goes below. and some of our websites. And then we have a little PS here, and we're going to move that back up. So change this to please let me know if you have any other musicians you represent or can contact that might be interested in being featured, because that's always a good thing to do. Okay, now, the one thing that I'm not crazy about is that we have the logo in two places, okay? And it really works better down here than it does up here, okay? So I'm gonna eliminate that one. I'm gonna put this one in. Okay. And I can either leave it blank up here until they get down, or I can decide there's something else that I want to put in. But what I want to do now is I want to save this. So I save it. Okay. And let's see. What I want to do is I can continue the subject and setting. I can do this, but remember there's fields that I haven't filled out. And I would put in an email subject. I can do an A/B split test if I want. I can put in an email pre-header like it says. And I can send one of the most important things that you're going to do, which you must do all the time before you send out something, is you must test it. So we're sending it, the test to support@plannedacts.org. Okay, it's not going to be 100% correct. And let's see what happened here. It wants me to do an email subject before I do that. So I can say, normally we would have this written and approved beforehand. Book interview request, publicity, book interview request. For your client. Publicity book interview request. Okay. For your client. Okay, so we'll just say that. So now we're going to say send a test. Send it to plan. We send it to ourselves. Support@plannedacts. And then we go to our email. And it just came back. And we see this is what it looks like. Okay. And the reason why we do this is we want to make sure, right, that everything is correct, including the formatting. So the thing is, people don't open their emails this wide. Okay, they open them like this, or they open them on their phone. Okay. And what we see is that, okay. going from the top, this Lyle is an extra one that the software puts in for the test. I already know that, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. We don't have anything filled out in this space because it wasn't linked to a database yet. So there was nothing to put in. Okay, it's just substituted my name because that's the test. We still have to go ahead, and because we have no database loaded, we have no, let's say, contact individuals loaded either. So that's where artist is. And we can see we're checking for, consistency. We're going to read the letter again. Okay, make sure there's no mistakes. We're going to make sure that it's been through a spell check. Always. Okay. But what we see is, hey, right, the paragraphs are fairly short, right, which they're supposed to be. And it's boom, 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 boom. So this is going to take them like 2 minutes to read. That's it. Okay. And then they're going to make a decision whether they want to go do that quick 15-minute call. Okay. And let's see what they can respond to the email, and I might put in something else in here for her. But what we see is that we have a little bit of a problem where this didn't go far enough down. So we've got to correct that. Okay. So we can go back into our file. We can go back. And here it looks right. You see that? But when we send the test, it's not correct. So we have to put in an extra return. That's why you always have to send tests. You can't just assume that just because it looks right on this screen, right, it's going to be correct when you email it. Even if you look at this visually, okay, which is the way it's supposed to look, it didn't actually work. You still want to send yourself a test. Okay, so this is how you set up the email. And then there's additional steps, like we said before, publicity book interview request, right? Send a next step. We do a test. We then go to the next step, and we can say, do we want to go ahead and, set up an A/B test? The answer is no. We're going to send it to we're going to send it to the correct list that we have. We're not going to send it to 26,000 contacts that we have preloaded into the software. So continue to the next step. Okay. Is there anything here that we want to edit? Send the emails. No, we're not going to do this. Okay. Because we haven't specified, right, what the contacts are that we're going to do. Okay. So, any questions about this aspect of it? Okay. Is it, obviously you've got to get in there and do it yourself. Okay. And test it. And, it might not go smoothly the first time. Okay. And you can check it against, right, the video that I made, the transcripts, to make sure that you're doing the correct steps. But you all understand the concepts and what we do, why we do it, how we do it. If you do,
Yes.
right, raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. The list of entrepreneurs that I'm compiling, So it's going to be in CSV file. Then you upload it as a data or in
Was that a,
spreadsheet.
was that a question?
Yes.
Didn't sound like one. It sounded like a statement.
Yeah.
So the thing
Yeah.
is, you are
Uh-huh.
correct, right? Information that gets imported into software normally has to be in CSV format. So you can convert an Excel spreadsheet into a CSV file, upload it, but what you have to do is what we call matching, okay, for fields. So I think that's the thing that I want to get into the next time. I think I want to stop here because, you know, I don't want to cover too much information, okay, at one time. I know this is like a two-step process, okay? So, and there's other things that you guys got hit with earlier today, right, Victor? Okay, which you still have to kind of like, you know, get your brain squared around. So I think that this is a good introduction to it. The next time we go into it, we'll have, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet that I'll convert into a CSV that will then import into the software as a contact list. Then we'll have to match fields, okay? And then based on that matched fields, that goes into, we make selections from that go into the body of the email in order to customize it. Then we go back and we choose that list again that we want to mail to. And then we actually do a mailing. Okay.
But I ask something.
If I've gotten you, I think the match field is more or less like data cleansing or filtering.
I couldn't hear the first part of what you said. Can you repeat it, please?
Okay, I say the matching as in does it mean it's data filtering or data cleansing?
Neither.
Okay.
It's you have to match the system has fields in it. You have to match those fields with the fields that are in your CSV file so that when you search for something in the system, it knows what to pull from your database, basically, your spreadsheet. So the thing is, if there's a field for email, which there always is because we're doing emails, it has to be a match on your spreadsheet exactly. If you don't have an email field, even if you have emails in your spreadsheet, you can't do that match. If you have phone numbers in your contact field from the software, okay, but you label it cell phone in your spreadsheet, in your CSV file, and you upload it, you can do a match even though they don't have the same name.
Okay.
But it's going to pull that information in that you wanted, basically phone records. Okay. So in one thing, it might be called location. And in your spreadsheet, that might be the region. Okay. Another thing might be, you know, you have first and last name, and it might be last N because it's abbreviated in your spreadsheet. Okay. So you have to make the determination of what is the match between what fields they have, or you need to customize, and then what fields you have. And then it'll only pull those into your document because you might have 10 columns in your CSV file, but you're only pulling 4 of them into the document. Okay. Good
Can
question.
I ask a question?
You
Yeah.
that was one question, so now you only got one left.
Yeah, yes. So this Fluent CRM, does it have a payment plan? And does it have API capabilities?
Yes, there is.
Only that.
Yes, it has a payment plan. So in other words, yes, we pay to use it. And you asked, does it have VIP capabilities?
The API.
Oh, um, I don't think it does, and I don't think that it needs it because the information that's here is what you already need. If you don't load the information into it's not in your spreadsheet, okay, and if it's not in your media file, yeah, you're not going to have access to it, and it's not available. So
Mm.
it's only pulling information from basically, let's say, three sources: your media file, maybe a link, right, and your spreadsheet, your CSV file. What else do you need?
I was thinking like in a sense of scheduled emails or
That's built.
automatic responses.
That's
Yeah.
built into the system, right? You see, don't you see at the bottom here? It says send emails right now, schedule emails. Schedule emails within a specified time range. That's there.
No. Okay. Basically, that's what the API does. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody good for now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And we'll explore the next part of it in terms of the contact list, spreadsheet, CSV file. Okay. Either tomorrow or Friday. Okie doke. If you felt this instruction was useful, helpful, right, go ahead and you can put I'm doing this, I think, Victor, for most of the things that we're doing now. Put a 1 to 10 in your WhatsApp name. Okay. And then you can also say, why do you think this was helpful? Okay. Or not helpful. Or how it could have been more helpful. Whatever you'd like to go ahead and say.
Come again, sir.
Okay. Cool. So let's see. I think I'm done with my training for people tonight. And I can go and take a little break, and then I can get to work by 10 o'clock.
Okay, you said something.
I said
I think
lots of things.
The last one about you should put on something to you on WhatsApp.
Oh, you can rank the training that you just received from 1 to 10. Okay, so 10 is the highest rating. 1 is, hey, it sucked. Why did I come on this call? Okay, so that's up to you. And why you think you gave it the rating. Okie doke.
Okay.
And so you guys good for now?
You are good.
We are good. I am Groot.
I'm good.
I am Groot. All right. Have a good rest of your day. And let's see. Our next.
But it's
Go ahead.
okay. But it's very quite different with what I was able to generate in terms of email customization, and we don't know. Even though you have a particular script, which is the perfect one to use, if not, what I was able to come up with, I think, very contrary to what you have. But there are some just little things that really correlate with what you have in the scripts.
Well, the thing is that, here you have the opportunity to learn so many different things. Okay, so that you have a much more complete picture of how things work. So that when things come up in your future, the more familiar you are with how things work, the better off you're going to be. And even if you're not working on some things directly, you have a familiarity with the process, which will then help you manage other people. Okay. And the more you get to see how things work, the more you're able to figure out things on your own. You know, one of the things that I've heard from students over the years is they've been in other people's internship programs. And what they've said is one of the problems they have is that they start off and they learn a little bit. So there's a little bit of a learning curve. Then they learn what they need to do the task that the company is having them work on. And then for the rest of the internship, that's what they do. Over and over and over again. So basically, they're just acting like a worker. And there's no real growth and no real development in their skills. So that's completely the opposite way of what we do. So you're going to learn, about all aspects of things, and you're going to be able to take what you're doing from implementation through completion, right? Both, the qualitative, and then when it starts being introduced into, right, the market or the real world, as we say, then we're going to get quantitative results as well on what you're doing. Okay. So very quickly now, you're going to start entering things that you're going to do, which are designed to impact the real world. Right now, you're learning foundation work. You can't do the other stuff without knowing foundation work. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys, right? Thank you, and I will see you in a little bit. Good night, Victor. Good night, Isaac. Inasu. Thank you. Okay. See you later, guys. Thanks.
Okay.